Hello and good afternoon. Hello and welcome. Welcome wherever you are. This is another Friday live stream for the AI Guild. Today, our title is Technical Profiles for Machine Learning Engineers. So, wherever you are, we're specifically today looking at technical profiles for ML engineers as you might want to use them on LinkedIn, your CV, discussing a promotion, finding your next challenge, and so on. Whatever it is that you might want to be doing, we're going to be looking at technical profiles for machine learning engineers. If you're not a machine learning engineer, but you also have a data role, you're a data analyst, data scientist, or something like this, this will equally work for you because you can take what we're going to be discussing today and apply it to your role. No problem. And then actually over the coming Fridays, there will also be other such events that will be looking at the data analyst, the data scientist, the data engineer, and other such data roles. So this should work for you. Let's get started. So it's online today because actually I have a common cold. So if you find that I'm doing this, I apologize. The real reason is just earlier this week I caught a cold. I'm already feeling much better, but you can probably tell from my voice that I have been ill. Okay, let's get started. So your technical profile on LinkedIn or a CV for machine learning engineers. The whole point of this is to say you actually do need a technical profile. And you need a technical profile not just because you're looking for your first or second job or a new job. You just need a technical profile for your career development and also to discuss with your current company, your management, your colleagues, and to figure out, on your career path where you are and where you want to go next. Now, we're looking at the machine learning engineer specifically today, and I'm just showing you this to say that one of the big things that's happened over the last 3 to 4 years is that roles have become more specialized. So, the data scientist is the sexiest job of the 21st century. And I have noticed also when working with people looking at responses to job advertisements and 3 other things, that if you write data scientist, you're basically inundated with applications. Whereas if you write data engineer or machine learning engineer, it's much less. This doesn't actually mean that people necessarily really know what they're looking for or who they are professionally. It's just that the buzzword data scientist just gets a lot more attention than other of the data roles. And from my own personal experience, I would say this is like a 10x. So, you post something for a data scientist and you get 10 times more applications than for any other role. And then it's not like all the applications that you get for the data scientist are actually data scientists. So there are lots of data analysts and even machine learning engineers hiding in that. But I think you need clarity. And I'm also actually saying by this that if you are looking for your first or next challenge, then sharpening your profile as a machine learning engineer means there's much less competition and you'll get more attention. So I think actually in the current situation, that is really an advantage that you could use. I'm speaking from experience. I'm also speaking from data. So I'm part of the AI Guild, which is now 1,900 specialists in data analytics, data engineering, data science, machine learning, deep learning, NLP, computer vision, and ML ops. Most in tech, some in product and business, but generally this background in terms of experiences. And then, of course, there's the wider data, and there's also now for the AI Guild experience with building teams and hiring. So precisely as I mentioned, we post something for a data scientist and we get 10 times more application than for a data analyst or an ML engineer. Amazing, actually. Shouldn't be like this, but here you go. Okay, so technical profile. Why technical profile? And what is it? So this is what we're going to look at today. Why? What is it? And how is it relevant for you as a machine learning engineer, if you are one already, or if this is where you want to go next, machine learning engineering. So technical profile, it allows the reader to understand your role, skills, and competency level. This is it. It needs to be short and sweet, right? Your reader is a manager, colleague, client, or recruiter. And he will make an initial judgment in 60 seconds or less. You know, we are in the attention economy, and that's why it says here 60 seconds or less. So you need a short and sweet technical profile that other people can find to understand who you are professionally, right? Not who you are as a person, but who you are professionally. And I actually do think that this technical profile should go, for example, in your LinkedIn section, in your LinkedIn About section, right at the top of your LinkedIn profile, so that it's clear. And I think a technical profile will look at this and is much more interesting and much more relevant than a long list of skills that nobody can make sense of. And it's also more interesting than buzzwords. So you have all seen these LinkedIn profiles that have been optimized for the search engine because somebody said this is a good thing to do. And then it says data analyst, data scientist, SQL, Python, I don't know what. Yeah, nice. So maybe you get found in LinkedIn searches, but this is exactly with this 60 seconds or less. So you get found in the LinkedIn search, then I see like 10 buzzwords, and then my interest actually dies. Why does my interest die after 6 seconds? Because 10 buzzwords isn't a profile. It's just 10 buzzwords, and I can tell at a glance. So if it was really a profile that you had on your LinkedIn profile, it would say data scientist, machine learning engineer. Maybe it would say data analyst and data scientist, or ML engineer and ML ops. Maybe there would be two things you would mention. But that's it. It's really clear. You are the machine learning engineer. And then there's a technical profile that shows me what it means to be a machine learning engineer for you. And then I'm interested because then I can see quickly they know who they are professionally, and now they're going to tell me relatively rapidly um, uh, who they are. So and LinkedIn profile, yeah. So you're thinking this is for recruiters? No, 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 no. This is not just for recruiters. This is for everybody. Maybe you've been in companies, I've been in companies where if you have new colleagues or you want to go and talk to a colleague, or you are entering a meeting and there's kind of like a new round, where do you go and look? Where do you go to look up the people? Where are you going to go and look up the people that you meet? I just look them up on LinkedIn because that's really the fastest way to do it. Yeah? I don't use, maybe occasionally I use something else because if I know they're an author in Medium, or I know there's something with GitHub or whatever. But typically I'll just go to LinkedIn. So this is true also for your colleagues, your managers, the people that decide about your promotions. You stick it on your LinkedIn profile. You can also put it in internal things, but it needs to go there. Okay, you have in front of you already a an example of this, and I'm just going to mention in the chat, and also now tell you that this is the time when you can start asking questions or making comments. You can also feel free to challenge what I say. So please ask any questions in the chat. I will pick them up and answer throughout. So I have a technical skills profile in front of you that at the top says 4+ years Python, 3+ years Bash, and so on, and new R and SQL. And then it says ETL pipelines, data processing, and DevOps. Okay. So this is a machine learning profile on the infrastructure side. And this is where it gets interesting, right? So machine learning engineers could be doing different things. This person is clearly on the infrastructure side, pipelines, processing, DevOps. And this is really valuable because it tells me that if I need a machine learning engineer that perhaps also works with data engineers, and my company at the moment needs to beef up their infrastructure capabilities, this is the person I want to be talking to. Also, if a company is restructuring and I'm already working in the company, right? And they're now building that end-to-end delivery system. Here's a profile that is really relevant for making that happen, because pipelines, processing, and DevOps, they are the foundation of this kind of work. This needs to work. Otherwise, you're not moving forwards to platform solutions. You're probably going around in circles. So this is a highly relevant ML profile for that type of thing. And it tells me at a glance, I get it, right? I get it. I just look at it, pipelines, processing, DevOps. Then I can go in and check that some of the stuff that, that is relevant. Of course, I could now talk to the person in query, but I get it in 60 seconds or less that this is what I'm looking at. And indeed, yeah, your ML engineering role at a glance, whatever key concepts, programming languages, methods, and tools you mention, it must be clear what your role is. Yeah. And then also as an ML engineer, whether you're more on the infrastructure side or perhaps you're doing classical machine learning models. So, your forte is regression, SVM, decision trees, random forest, classical machine learning solutions. That could be an ML engineer, right? An ML engineer could also be somebody that is really, really good at cloud platforms. Maybe you have an AWS and a Google Cloud certificate, or something like this, and you have real experience. You haven't just done a bit of learning. You've been working on AWS for 2 years. Yeah, that's an ML engineering role that is really interesting if the company is doing this or moving like that. So at a glance, it really needs to be clear what it is that you have and bring to the table. Apologies. So here's another one. Works in the same kind of way. It's a technical profile. In this particular instance, the person thinks they have a really strong GitHub and a code sample that they would like people to look at. That's why it mentions that. And then it says data manipulation. And then it says machine learning algorithms and deep learning frameworks. And then more software practices. The software practices also actually are relevant because they underpin or make more credible your claims to be in an engineering role, right? So engineering role means that your software practices actually need to be good or best practices, and you need to understand software engineering and have practiced it. Maybe you have a computer science degree, but maybe you also don't. I mean, there are many ways of becoming, of doing software, learning it, and making this happen. Okay, but back. So here we have a different type of profile. That's what I want to get at. So machine learning algorithms and deep learning frameworks. Okay, and put like this, of course, it also really actually says, regression, classification, time series analyses, clustering, and so on, Bayesian inference mentioned here. This really is the core of the professional experience as an ML engineer, the ML algorithms. Then for deep learning, it says framework. So it says TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras. And put like this, it is clear that the person has some knowledge and command over deep learning frameworks, but it doesn't, for example, say here neural networks or different types of neural networks. So it doesn't actually indicate that the person has experience in building or deploying neural networks, rather with machine learning algorithms. Okay. So if this is what I'm looking for, somebody classical machine learning, I want to talk to this person. Yeah. This is really, really clear where this person is professionally and what they have to offer. So this is the thing, the technical specialization. You make your domain expertise and specialization visible, right? And you make it visible at a glance, because going back just a minute, the point is I can read this in like less than a minute, and I think so can you. Yeah, and the way you do that is you go apologies again, you glance at it, you take in the keywords, and because you are in the field, you can put those keywords together and they give you this impression, this profile. And that's the thing. You need to go easy on the reader. This is, for example, why I believe that a technical skills profile is more than a list. Yeah, notice how it's been organized. So notice how there are kind of clear headings: the machine learning algorithms and the deep learning frameworks and the software practices. And actually, you struggle a little bit with this. You need to make a decision. So um, a profile that says just machine learning and deep learning is nice, but is not nearly as good as machine learning algorithms or deep learning frameworks, because this specificity beats, these general concepts anytime and all the time. Because as a reader, I know what I'm getting. The associations in my brain start going in the direction that they should. Yeah, so in the right direction from the point of the view of the author, because they have told me that she is a machine learning engineer that's strong on algorithms, on ML algorithms. And I think this specificity really, really matters. And then, of course, once you've done that, you need to make sure that the rest that you tell the person enhances the credibility of that. And something at the top here, like 7+ years Python, including scikit-learn and so on and so on, then underpins this and makes this more credible. Okay, so moving on. Here's another one where it says data science, machine learning, databases, and deployment. So this is a more generalist profile. Okay, so we've had one really on the infrastructure, we've had one really on the ML algorithms, and this is a more generalist one. Maybe this is for somebody that is looking for a first role. And a first role that could be either in data science or machine learning, and then this would be a really clever way of doing it because you would indicate, with also with the line around deployment and Docker AWS, that you have interest and a competence in the engineering field, and you could be, the company could also consider you precisely for an engineering role rather than just a data scientist role. So I hope some of you can still see or hear me. The connection collapsed in the meantime. I'm very sorry about this, and I have no real explanation because my internet connectivity principally is good. But there you go. So as far as I can tell, we're back, and I'm going to go forward to where I wanted to be, and continue from there. So please let me have your questions. While I want to talk about the competency level. So what am I talking about here in terms of competency level? Your reader actually wants to know your level immediately. Yeah, if you're a senior or a lead and how many years of experience you have. And you already saw that in the sense that it says here 4+ years, or for both data science and machine learning. Okay, so by using that, you kind of indicate your proficiency. And you need to do that because I don't actually want to, on your LinkedIn profile or on your CV, have to spend too much time figuring out how long you've been in the field. I want you to tell me right away. And the way to think about this 4+ years is what counts is all the time that you've been a regular user. Now, a regular user may be daily or weekly, that would also still count as regular. If you just do it once a month, you're not a regular user. And then the 4 years means how many years have you been a regular user on the sense of weekly or daily. There may have been gaps while you were learning, or there may have been gaps while you were in academia and doing a PhD, or maybe there were gaps because you had a role that didn't allow you to do or didn't ask you to do much of this. So what you can do here with the 4+ years, it's not like actually saying So today we have 2022. It's not like saying I've been doing this 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. It's just saying I've been doing this 4+ years. I have come to a competence level where I have been a regular user for 4+ years. Okay, and doing it like this gives the other side an idea. And the thing is, typically, actually, now talking about the recruiting scenario, the thing would be typically if they see 1 year or more, it starts to get interesting. Yeah, given the fact that most talents today do command Python fluently. If you have 2 years of Python experience, then you are a fluent user already. So, and everybody knows that. And then, of course, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years show that you have substantial expertise, and you also have seen the professional development of Python packages. You know some of its history. You can compare things, and so on and so on. So this is really important. And instead of letting people figure it out, please tell them. Okay. So competence level. So I want to show you also one other way of doing it. So I have shown you representations of technical skills that work with key concepts and sort of had a table-like format. You can also, of course, write it in prose. And here you are. I'm a machine learning expert leading on the architecture of end-to-end solutions, especially for data-intensive products. I have experience with job scheduling and monitoring tools, for example, Airflow, Prometheus, Grafana. Previously in the mobility sector, I now focus on NLP for education products. I enjoy working with designers, developers, and DevOps to build features users love. So this is the same thing in prose. Yeah. It's actually easier to read. It's more friendly. It's not quite as detailed as if you use a sort of like a table-like structure. But it also does the job. You can also combine the two. You can also kind of like in 3 sentences of prose in your about section on your LinkedIn profile or at the top of your CV, kind of like summarize who you are professionally and then give the technical skills list. But something like this works, yeah? Because also here, these like 3 sentences, I'm a machine learning expert, end-to-end solutions, and I have and here is the proof, and you can query me on it, and I now have an interest in NLP. I mean, that's cool. I'm a company that is increasingly doing NLP, text, speech, whatever. I'm looking for a machine learning expert to bring the thing together to productionize. Here you go. That's your person. Okay. So one more round on indicating your proficiency. You can do it. You can do it by 5+ years, 2+years, 7+years. So here's an example. Or you can use a dot system, and I'm showing you here the dot system because I sometimes see people using it. So if you're using a dot system, please don't use 5 or 7 dots. Way too complicated. It's 1, 2, 3 dots. 3 dots means I'm great at it. 2 dots means I'm good at it. If you would give yourself only 1 dot, delete it from your CV because it basically means you're not good at it, and you want the company to pay you to learn it. And in the company might actually do that, but in the recruiting process, they don't want to actually see this. So if you're using this system, then please do like this. Otherwise, we've spoken about this. Okay. Here's your cherry on top for today. This is a technical skills profile that got the person hired by Google. So that's the top of the pinnacle. We can discuss whether working for Google is such a super idea, but got the person hired by Google in the field of machine learning and document processing, as you can see here. Okay, rounding this off because our 25 minutes are over for today. You can find more about this on Medium if you like. So there's a medium.com publication called Fluent in Data, where every morning at 8 a.m. Central European Time, a new article comes out that should be really helpful for your data career. It looks at specific roles and specific competency profiles. It very often operates through the n=1 example. So it operates through examples and shows you what other people have done for the purpose of inspiration. So if you like, find it on medium.com and get notified every Monday. And then also, if you're not yet a member of the AI Guild, but you liked what you've heard and you would like to join the 1,900 other specialists with typically 2 to 20 years of experience, you can, if you're on LinkedIn, just simply go and find AI Guild, the page of the AI Guild, and then you can join as a member via sign up below. And the sign up below actually takes you to the website of the AI Guild, where you please leave your details. It just takes about 2 minutes to do that. Here is for you the address. So it just takes about 2 minutes, and then your application will be processed. Okay, thank you very much. Our time is up for today. I apologize again for the interruption in the middle. I have no idea where this came from, that the connectivity issue was there. I'm tempted to joke about the fact that I'm streaming from Germany, but I'll just leave it for now. Wish you a great Friday. We're doing this again next Friday at 12:30 on a different topic.